Okay, let's get started. So thank you, Roger, to be here. We are all thrilled and blessed, excited to be here.
I love you. It's great to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
You're probably the most famous barbershop singer in Japan because you have been coaching barbers and coached several choruses, quartet, and everyone knows you. It's going to be fun today. For those who might not know you well, could you please briefly introduce yourself a bit?
Sure. Well, I'm Roger Ross. I live in Orlando, Florida. I've been a barbershop singer for almost 50 years.
50 years, wow.
Yeah. Fortunately, my dad took me to my first barbershop chorus rehearsal when I was around 10 years old, 11 years old, up in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And I guess I kind of got hooked on barbershop even as a kid, and been doing it ever since. So over those 50 years, I've been lucky to have sung in a lot of quartets, in competition and that sort of thing, sing with the Dapper Dans. I've been with them now for 40 years, and I've sung in choruses and directed choruses, and it's just been an amazing part of my life and my family's life. I lost my dad back in July of 2017, almost 3 years ago, and so we spent maybe 45 years or so enjoying barbershop together in quartets and in choruses and in the Dapper Dans and going to conventions and all of that. So it's been a great family time, fun time for all of us all these years. And when any of us are fortunate to win medals, such as Yasu has with a chorus, your family, your extended family are all champions just like you are. They just kind of, it's in the blood, so to speak. So it's quite a thrill for your family and your close friends to all enjoy that wonderful, exciting achievement along with you. It's not just something that you keep to yourself. Mm-hmm. You share it with people all over, just like I share it with all of you. So that's kind of a short history. What else?
Yeah, that's a start. Not to mention that you won the twice the international gold championship.
Yes, been fortunate to have won the international quartet championship twice. Keepsake back in 1992 in New Orleans, Louisiana. That was with Don Varnick, Joe Connolly, and Tony DeRosa. And I actually have my trophy from that championship along with my 2 medals because we were silver medalists. So only 2 medals. Yeah, we weren't that good. And also got a ring for that. So there's my championship ring that has
for the first time
1992 on one side and then Keepsake on the other side. So that's pretty special.
Wow.
And then 25 years later, I almost forgot, I was fortunate to win again, and that was with a quartet called Main Street. And we were a little bit better than Keepsake, so we won a lot more medals.
Yeah,
I'll make 6 bronze and 1 gold. No silvers, no, unfortunately we did not. And here's
so
my
sorry
Main Street
for that.
ring. So
bronze collector.
I have 2 Super Bowl rings. So yeah, so quite a thrill. I really never thought, I loved barbershop. I loved it as I was growing up. And I guess when Keepsake got together, I was, let's see, I would have been 21 years old. So I was pretty young when we, no, I would have been 31 years old. I'm sorry.
That's a huge difference.
21.
I was actually surprising myself. I'm like, wow, you were only 21?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. 31 when we first started, and then I would have been 33 when we won. So, I never thought that I would ever have an opportunity, having grown up in barbershop for many years up to that point,
does that mean you had competed was keepsake 3 times, and then the 3 times you won?
Twice.
Twice, okay.
We started in July of '90 is when we had our first rehearsal, and then we qualified for the '91 convention a year later,
Okay.
and then '92 convention where we
That
won.
sounded quite unusual.
That's super fun.
Winning, winning the gold medal just with, competing
two
twice.
times, 2 chances. Yeah, you don't find it too much. I mean, there's a lot of quartets that have won it their first time out, and there's a lot of quartets that have jumped from out of the medals to winning. Instant Classic, I think, was the most recent, who had never medaled before and come out of nowhere and win the gold one year. So anything's possible, it just really is.
You just blew with that.
Little did I know that I would win 1 gold medal or any medal, because growing up, as all of you do, we idolize all the great quartets, and those that get into the medals, we're just like, wow, that's just like quite an accomplishment in the barbershop world and the Sweet Adeline world and all that. Just medalists in general is just an amazing accomplishment. But then to have an opportunity to go back in a great quartet 25 years later and compete again and win medals and even win the gold is just still hard to believe. Competing with Tony. So Tony and I have an amazing history. We're just amazing friends, and I'm really close to all of his family. I was close to his dad, Papa Joe, and his mom Lois is still with us. And I first met Tony, I think, when he was 8 years old, when his family first moved to Florida. And of course, I was busy barbershopping and competing in quartets and that sort of thing. And then we got in a quartet together for the first time in the mid-'80s, called One Shot Deal. And our coach was Joe Connolly.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So it's a small world after all. He would have been 12 when One Shot Deal first started. Yeah. So he started singing tenor in that quartet, and his voice was changing. Although I think Saki's voice is just now changing. But so Tony had to move to baritone, and Sean had to move from baritone up to tenor, like within the first 6 months or a year that we were together. So, and then that quartet went to our first international, I think in '88. And in '89, we were 21st place mic testers. So that was quite a thrill for 4 young guys that just got together and loved singing record songs, because we would all listen to quartet recordings like Bluegrass Student Union and 139th Street Quartet and quartets like that. And we would just kind of learn stuff off the albums and sing them off in the corner or something, and then decided to start a quartet. We've been in 3 together, One Shot Deal, and then Keepsake, and then Main Street. But we sang together in Dapper Dan's as well. Yeah.
So Tony moved to Florida, and then how did you guys meet each other? Like in a chorus?
He had started barbershopping prior to that up on, I think, Rochester, New York. His dad was a chorus director up there, Papa Joe. And so the family moved down to Florida. They were already involved in barbershop and Harmony Inc. and that sort of thing. And so they would come to our district conventions, and that's where I first met him and the family. They would come out and see us maybe at the Afterglow or something, and we would sing tags. And so he was definitely a prodigy back when he was just a kid. And I have a picture of him singing Sing with the Champs with, I think, Grandma's Boys back in like the late early, maybe mid 80s, like 86, I think, in Minneapolis. He did Sing with the Champs. And he's just a little kid, 12, 13 years old, and just singing great, as you can imagine. Just didn't miss a beat. I forget what they were singing. Might have been Football Hero or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I was there, so I saw it.
So would that be great if we could share the videos? I haven't seen it.
You have it?
Yeah.
I don't have it set up here.
Okay, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Please give a warm welcome to One Shot Deal.
Well, it's long, so
Knickers.
I'm gonna hop on the train and skip down the lane and jump into my mammy's arms. I'm gonna hop off the train and then I'll skip down the lane and jump into my mammy's arms. Her loving arms, I'll hop, skip, and jump through the door and then I'll ring the bell and start to yell, I'm back home again. I'm gonna be mighty glad. I'm gonna see my old dad and tell him about the city's charms, its charms. I'll meet you Lana, Carolina, all of the rest. But first of all, I'm gonna call him what I love best. I'll hop off a train and then I'll skip down the lane and jump into my mammy's arms. I'm gonna hop off a train.
So it's a long video I got here.
Yeah, that gives you an idea. That was a fun quartet. Thank you.
You sing lead.
I was singing lead, yes. Yeah, and I love singing lead. It's just an amazing part. It's more difficult, I think, just from the standpoint of being the musical and performance leader of your quartet. I mean, your harmony part guys need to definitely have something, strong and confident to grab a hold of visually and musically. And if you enjoy playing that role in a quartet, it's a wonderful place to be. And I honestly think anybody who has the chance to sing lead in a quartet, it makes them a better harmony part singer because just because of that leadership role that you gain the experience doing.
So you started your barbershop career as a lead, is that right?
When I was a little kid, I honestly don't remember what I was singing. Chances are it was probably lead, just because melody is easier for a 10-year-old, is what I'm thinking. But probably moved on into tenor from there. But I've sung all parts, 3 parts in quartets. I've won district in 2 parts, but I've competed in international in 3 parts, tenor, lead, and baritone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I love them all.
You are the well-known tenor singer, so what made you decided to move to, stick to tenors?
Well, it's funny because I think certainly I have shown that I've developed a certain level of proficiency in that role in some quartets, going back to keepsake and that sort of thing. So I think tenors might be difficult to come by sometimes when people are putting quartets together. There seems to be a large majority of basses and baritones, and then probably next leads, and then tenors are kind of short in supply. Yeah,
it's true every time.
So I guess if you kind of hone your skills in the tenor role, that you potentially might be in more demand. I may just be making all that up. I don't know, but even in a chorus setting, and maybe Yasu can say for Westminster, I would say probably your smallest section would be your tenor section, and that's probably the case in all choruses. So I think just in the game of numbers, tenors tend to be there's less of them around.
The tenor, we have to really find and looking for. And
yeah.
So even have had only 7 or 8 for out of 100 this last
wow.
Summer. It kind of makes sense.
Wow, only 7%.
Yeah. And I think the physics of sound in barbershop, as it relates to chorus, probably lends itself to heavier on lead bass. Some choruses very much bass, and then next would be baritone, and then tenors just kind of singing up there with all the overtones, reinforcing overtones, as Gary Parker would say. And but also, you certainly need some power in the tenor section. One great thing about Westminster is anytime Justin would call on any particular part to just really give some power, he always had it there. So it sure sounded like more than 7 tenors when the tenors were asked to really crank it out there. So you have an amazing tenor section. So
sometimes we have like few leads switching to like tenor, you know.
Okay, yeah, when necessary. Yeah. And a lot of times when tenors are short in supply, you can always convert other singers to tenor, or some guys that sing in quartets can convert to tenor. So a lot of other singers, bass, baritones, and leads make great tenor singers if they have the vocal, mechanics to do that.
So you were saying you sang in tenor as a tenor and keepsake for the first time?
Yes.